Hello everyone and welcome to Geek Anime channel. I'm your detective host Igor, and yeah, it's been a while. I took a long vacation for almost a month and I skipped a couple of videos during that time. And today I want to talk to you about our favorite TV show. Of course, I'm talking about From. If you haven't noticed and if you didn't know, they already filming season 5, which is incredible because we now can pin July 2026 as the date of the beginning of the filming of the last and final season of this TV show. Why is that important? Why this date is actually so crucial for this video? If you remember, once again, 9 months before the release of season 4, I made a video predicting when season 4 is gonna be released, hitting the spot with April. And now we can do the same. Because if you remember, for the past 4 seasons, they pretty much kept the same window of time between the beginning of the filming and the actual release. Season 1 started filming in May 2021 and was released on February 2022, which means 9 months. Season 2 was starting to film in July 2022 and was released on April 2023. And Season 3 was starting to film in January 2024 and was released on September 2024, which was almost like 8.5 months or something like this. And Season 4, of course, was beginning to film in the end of June, beginning of July, and was released, if you remember, in April 2026. Now, granted, this is the last season, so they need to give us a lot of answers and they need to make a very grand finale, unless they don't want this TV show to be remembered fondly, which I assume they do. They want to make a spectacle out of it. They want to make this TV show as something to be culturally remembered for a while, like Lost, like Dark, and many other TV shows. So they better not fuck up the bed here. Yeah, they need to make a very good and interesting ending. So it maybe will take longer than usual, maybe not 9 months, but it's probably not gonna be way much longer, right? It's not gonna be suddenly a year and a half. Maybe it's gonna be 10 months. So it's gonna be released on April/May 2027. You can record me here, you can screenshot, you can do whatever you want, and then come back to me on April 2027 and tell me whether I was right or wrong. But I also wanted to talk to you about something that I also missed doing because of my vacation, is that right before the release of the season finale of season 4, the creators of the TV show, John Griffin, Jeff Pinkner, and maybe even somebody else, they answered a lot of interesting questions by the fans on Reddit forums, and I didn't have a chance to discuss it with you. I know some of my colleagues did this, I think Eamon did this, but I also know that even though there are a lot of very great creators that do From, in my opinion, way better than I do, there are a lot of you who likes to spend time with me discussing this TV show. So I do wanna go through every comment and every answer and let you know what I think about those answers. You probably have seen my video about the season finale when I was pretty bummed when they said that, Eloise is dead, deal with it however you want because it's not our problem, which was really a little bit too much for me because there are so many different hints that are telling us that Eloise is somehow supposedly still needs to play a role in this TV show. But then again, the creators are still there, and even after everything, I do have trust in them. And maybe I'm gonna be disappointed, who knows, it's always possible. But it's just in my character not to be always, like, disappointed and be like always pessimistic about things. I wanna be optimistic about season 5. If I'm gonna be disappointed, so be it. But I'm not gonna spend the next 9 or 10 months waiting for season 5 with the feeling of, oh, it's gonna be bad, it's gonna be super bad, they're gonna disappoint us, it's gonna be horrible. Oh, fuck that. Who wants to live like that? No, I just wanna believe in them. Hopeful they will deliver us the ending that we all deserve. And I'm not really lightly using this word because I do believe that we as fandom, from fandom, deserve a very good, satisfying ending here. Something that will answer most of our questions and will provide us with an explanation that will satisfy us, or connecting all the dots and fixing all the things that needs to be fixed, like something that is not working together and we need some explanation that actually makes it work. So without further ado, let's dive into the answers by John Griffin, Jeff Pinkner, and maybe Jack Bender was there, but I'm pretty doubtful. I think it was mostly there John Griffin answering those questions. We have a user named Sekevai, and the user is asking who was the first character conceptualized for the show. I always wondered if Boyd was always gonna be the lead from the conception, or if there was ever a vision where, say, Jim or Tabitha was. And the answer is the prominence of the sheriffs and Matthew's family was in place from the beginning. Additionally, Jade and Tabitha's central role in the mythology was also in place, with the notable exception that Jade was originally conceived as the teenage girl on her way back home from spring break. Now, there is also another comment that I kind of left here because this is something that I've been talking for a while already and it's bugging the hell out of me. I knew that small change in Jade's character, lol, but now that you say that Jade and Tabitha's role was there from the beginning, I'm wondering, the central role was for two women from the ancient times and not an original couple? Interesting. Now, the reason why it's bugging me, because we are seeing clearly here that the reincarnation of the souls mostly here is actually keeping the same gender, right? We have Tabitha and then Miranda, we have then she was a little girl, as we know, we have Jade looking at all of his previous reincarnation and all of them are men. So how does that supposed to work in the original scenario? It doesn't make any sense to me. Hopefully the creators will provide us with something, probably not in the TV show itself, but I do hope that when the TV show is going to be over, they will make a lot of podcasts and different Q&As with the fans, because no matter what they're going to do there, we're still going to have a lot of questions. I promise you, after the TV show is going to be over, there's not going to be a scenario when we're all like, oh, okay, that's it. Nothing to ask anymore. It's gonna be still a lot of questions that don't work in our minds, so we're gonna need the creators to be there for us. Okay, moving to the next one. Zeus28, has everything on this show always been fully planned out? I know there's always questions when it comes to renewal, but I have been wondering for the longest time if there has always been a very clear baseline for the plot and the details. Now the answer is, telling this story is a lot like trying to plan the perfect vacation. If you plan too little, you end up wandering around in circles and wasting your time. If you plan too much, you end up with something that feels rigid and overstuffed. But if you plan just enough, the airline tickets, the hotel you're staying at, the main attractions you want to visit, but still leave room to explore, you'll end up finding things that you never expected, and those unexpected surprises are oftentimes the best parts of the trip. But they're only possible if you have the blueprint. Making this show has been a lot like that. Now, just coming back from vacation, I completely agree, but I have to add a little bit of but. Because you see, it's not exactly like vacation. If you plan a vacation and you leave some things to do, right? If you have the time and ability to do them, you are more than welcome to do those things, like for your own adventurous soul, if you want to call it like this. But in the TV show, when you leave those things to explore and find, just please make sure they don't contradict anything that you were planning before, right? So you're exploring, you're adding, you're finding new things because you're working with the actors, and actors bring a lot of things. Many times they bring ideas, like Jack Nichols used to say, I'm also a great writer, blah, blah, blah. Great, amazing, but for the sake of our psychological help and for the sake of our bills that need to be spent on our family and not on psychiatrists, please make sure it works and connects together, right? Some people take me seriously. I'm obviously joking. This is still just a TV show with all of our obsession, all of our love. Please don't take this show that much seriously, so it suddenly will hurt your psychological state or something like this. Like, I was rooting for Argentina, they lost. The next day I was already, okay, life is moving on. The same way with From. Don't make it part of your identity, okay? So just a little advice from me. Anyway, moving on, we have Plague Vixen. Did you have any character arcs in mind that you pivoted away from after seeing the actor/actress bring the character to life? One of the great joys of making a show with an ensemble like this is seeing what the actors bring to the roles and the type of chemistry they have with each other. Equally exciting is when the show reveals things to you that you didn't realize were there. One example of this type of evolution is that we didn't know Victor had a sister until the moment he opened the trunk of the car and realized those drawings weren't his, and it was among the most exciting moments we had exploring the story. And somebody's saying, yet we still don't know what happened to Eloise yet, and unfortunately we're gonna get an answer. Now, of course, this is nothing for us as a fandom, it's just something nice to hear, of course, yeah, actors, interesting, but then it just also once again tell us that Eloise was not planned. Okay, so once again, it kind of raises a couple of eyebrows because we do have a lot of similarities between Matthew's family, which have a boy and a girl, as kids, and Miranda had a boy and a girl, but there's also, like Matthew's family had another boy who died, unfortunately. So yeah, I can see them not exactly planning Eloise, but then again, if you add a character like that, what was her purpose for the story? Like, if we remove Eloise, what changes? Meanwhile, nothing much, because the ending is still gonna be the same, right? Unless we're gonna see something in season 5. Didi May is asking, I have a few questions that have stayed with me for 4 seasons. Feel free to answer whichever you'd like. 1. Is the town following a set of rules, or is someone actively changing the game? 2. Will we eventually look back and realize the answer was in front of us all along? And 3. Have we already seen all the clues needed to solve the main mystery? Which one, by the way? Which mystery is the main one? Because I have in my mind a couple. Or are key pieces still missing? Thank you all for the great show. So the answer is the reason our characters are trapped in Fromtown should be clear by now. I've pretty much discussed this many times in my videos, and the creators kind of confirmed it, so yay me. If and how they may manage to live is yet to be discovered, and while the clues are all there for the why, we have a few fun things up our sleeves for the how. Of course, I have also a couple of things in my sleeves, which is obviously not an answer, just a theory, but stay tuned, I'm gonna make a lot of From videos in the next couple of months. Anyway, moving to the next one, and it's Polyqueen15 is asking, is the ending of the show the original one you guys have had from the start, or has it ever changed throughout the seasons? The ending will be the ending we initially imagined. Details of how we get there have changed during the creative process, but we will eventually get to the ending that we have always intended, unless AI destroys the world before we get there. Hopefully not, because we need this TV show to be over with some freaking answers. And the next question is by Ants Big Boss. If you could make one fan theory canon just because it's hilarious, which kind of theory would you choose? We will love the energy and enthusiasm that goes into the fan theories. We do try not to read them. Part of the fun will be going back when the show is done and seeing which theories were close and maybe even hit the bullseye. That said, whoever is responsible for the supernatural inspired memes is a personal hero of mine, and please make more. I know I'm assuming here because supernatural here is not capitalized with a capital letter, but I assumed he's talking about the supernatural TV show, Dean and Sam fighting the ghost and everything else. And I've been mentioning this TV show a couple of times during my reviews because, we're talking about bones, children bones, and the ghosts are actually connected to the bones. Once again, if you are a fan of supernatural TV show, it will raise you some, some links to the TV show, right? It's very similar. So yeah, I'm pretty happy to know that John Griffin apparently also loves supernatural, and I don't think that the Ankui children bones just need to be burned with some salt to release their souls, but maybe he is drawing some inspiration from the mythology, because once again, supernatural didn't invent its lore. They took a lot from the Bible and from different mythologies, etc. They changed a couple of things, but it's not like they invented Lucifer, right? They just took something and then just made it work for their TV show. Which pretty much I think is something that's gonna happen in From 2. I don't think we're gonna get like an answer that the man in yellow is Azazel or something like this. He's a demon from the Bible. possible, but I do think it's gonna be something else. It's gonna be something invented for the TV show, but taking inspiration from the mythologies that we have in the real life. Now, we also have a Mashiro Kohaku asking, no need to say the reason why, but was the boy in white agent looking different planned? Or was it just a thing you had to go around creatively because time passed in real life? Also, how important is the time frame between episode 1 until now? The reason we rarely reference the passage of time on the show is so that people can experience it however they experience it. In many ways, the show feels like it's taking place over a much longer period of time than it actually has, because it's been almost like a month and a couple of days. It's been 30, 35, 34 days. I'm also planning to make a video about this topic. It's already almost done. Maybe hopefully next week will gonna be released. And at the same time, it feels like it has gone by in the blink of an eye. I don't know about the rest of you, but that's kind of how the last 6 years feel to me. There are many things that we can control in the making of the television show. Biology and time are not among them. Knowing that the young actor playing the boy in white would age over the life of the show, we built that aging process into the mythology. Turns out Halifax winter are also uncontrollable. Now he's referencing obviously season 3 when they had to film in the winter because this is what their window, so they needed to incorporate this in the mythology of the Lord. Now right now I'm gleefully, eviling, smiling, laughing at everybody who was writing to me under my video about the boy in white. It's just the actor, he's growing up, they don't really care about this thing. Are you freaking stupid? I mean, with a capital S. Yeah, they can just disregard that the actor is growing up, but if they actually inserting into the script sentences like Victor saying to the boy in white, you're growing up and everything is changing now, it means it's supposed to be incorporated in the lore of the TV show, and it will be. It's already, I have enough theories about explaining this, but anybody who is saying to me that the boy in white is just growing and this is why they decided to say that he's changing without explaining it, you sound like people that tell me that the earth is flat. After that, everything you say, I already hear only because I assume your IQ is lower than the negative numbers. Anyway, moving on to the next question. So, other than Jade or Tabitha, why is anyone else in Fromville? Are they chosen, random? What/who decides the person is getting a tree? Was Boy chosen for Fromville or just dumb luck? I too would be screaming at no one, you will not break me, or I'd be pissing myself like Victor. Other than Jade and Tabitha, there is a connected theme among all the other characters who were pulled into Fromtown. They were each at some sort of a crossroads in their lives. Boyd, for instance, has just retired. How many times was I talking about this in my videos? I think dozens of times. We have Bhakta, who just finished paying her debt to the school and she was about to quit her job. We have Jade selling his company, the Matthews family, divorce, Boyd, retirement, Sarah leaving an abusive relationship, Christy and Marielle about to get married. Everybody was filled with some kind of a hope and they were at some sort of a crossroads. Father Khatri killing a man who was killed his son, or at least turning his face, the man who killed his son into a mush potato, tomato, whatever was dessert for this fucker. And also a pretty strong crossroad, leaving your own town, leaving your own church, and just moving on to summer. So, hell yeah. You know what? I'm actually starting to understand all of my colleagues that basically when they start the video, they were like, I was right, I was right, I was right. It's a freaking good feeling, especially since I was talking about this so many times, just getting confirmation from the creators that I was right, that this is the hope at the crossroads which actually brings them to town. Hell yeah, I'm good. Yes, there is a saying in Russian, if you're not gonna compliment yourself, nobody's gonna compliment you. So usually I'm shy and I'm like, oh, please don't compliment me, I'm so shy. But today I'm like, yeah, motherfuckers, I was right. So D Big Son is saying, do you remember your very first what if that inspired the world of From? For example, the Matrix was inspired, but what if everybody lived in a simulation? Thinking about how much of our identity is invested in the world around us, the rules we live by, etc., and what it would be like if all that was taken away and who we would become if our daily lives became a nightmare. Which is once again a reference to 9/11. We know that John Griffin was on a flight that was supposed to be, not the one that was supposed to be, of course, flew into the Twin Towers, but he was just supposedly needed to fly somewhere, and the flight was canceled because of this terrorist act. So yeah, which once again, this was, I remember I was a child when it happened, but it was pretty much a very shocking event, saying it lightly. So yeah, I can see that once again, like the inspiration taking you from experiencing this horrific event and then creating something like From, just nothing but respect to John Griffin. Nothing, once again, with capital RESPECT. Awesome, you're a fucking great author. What can I say here? Nothing to add here. Stay Posse Bro. Was the exact design and origin of the talisman symbols mapped out from day one? Are they meant to be a solvable puzzle for us? Interesting question. Thank you so much for this question. MGM Plus is answering the specific design of the talisman. Like many things on the show are the product of our amazing production designers and artists, but the origin of the symbol was always intended to be a clue to the nature of the mythology. I've been talking about the symbol many times. I've been talking about this being like a mirrored man. We have the lake of tears. When you look at it, you see the mirror reflection of yourself. There is also the conversation that Boyd had with Sarah about a worm that you cut it in half, you suddenly get two worms. There is something here very similar to the upside down in the Stranger Things TV show when we were watching the teasers and trailers for the upcoming episode during season 4. All of them were ending with the outro with the forest upside down. Every time the man in yellow was turning into the man in yellow or Sophia, they showed us a couple of shots on the upside down. So I don't know, but there is something about this symbol, once again connecting to the toy that was given to Victor by Eloise. There is something here. There is something. I still can't put my finger on it like exactly what it is, but it's definitely somehow connected to the mirror world. Whatever it's gonna be, however it's gonna work, but it's probably gonna be something like this. The next question is by Crispy Cuzzy. Will we understand why you called the show From in season 5, or is the answer already there? We've kind of avoided any rigid explanation on the title so that people can decide what it means for them. But I think it's fair to say that the word From is very much like a hyphen on a gravestone. Like Rakim said, it's not where you're from, it's where you're at. I've been seeing many interviews with John Griffin, and I think he already said a couple of times. It's not gonna be just, suddenly somebody just pops up from under the screen and like, and this is where they're all from. Tom, tom, tom. Nah, it's probably gonna be left to our interpretation, and a lot of people are gonna be thinking that it's From because it's somehow connected to American history, like where we're all from, or it's From because everybody's coming from somewhere, or From, if you turn it, it's Morph, which is morphology, which was Jeff Pinkner was talking about this in the interview with him, and so many different explanations, you just pick one. Myself, my humble opinion, I don't really give a shit. Unless it's connected to the lore and the mythology of this place, you can think about whatever you want. I don't really care. Why is it called From? So, will we be seeing more of Douglas E. Hughes in season 5? I love his performance as the Man in Yellow and need to see more of it. Also, just wanted to congratulate you both on such an incredible season. You probably haven't seen the last of Mr. Hughes. How did you build the mythos of this show? Is it all original, or is it borrowing from different ideas like a pastiche? What the hell is that? Have no idea. In many ways, the show is built on familiar tropes with the intention of creating something that feels at first familiar, yet becomes something entirely different. Like, for example, the monsters are kinda look like vampires. We've always looked at the show as a character drama dressed up as a nightmare, where the mystery is a familiar vehicle to carry all the themes and questions that we wanted to explore. It's an answer without an answer. Yeah, so moving on. Why did you guys choose to reveal to us viewers in the beginning of season 4 the plot twist of the man in yellow turning into Sophia, rather than have it had a big reveal at the end and have us viewers try to guess the whole season who it could be in the town? Pretty much understandable why, but let's read an answer. Part of the fun of introducing the man in yellow at the end of season 3 was leaving room for people to wonder what role he would play and how he would terrorize our residents going forward. Part of the fun of having him in town as a wolf among the sheep is for the audience to understand the significance of the things Sophia does even as our characters are in the dark. For the most part, we have lived in the mystery and uncertainty alongside our characters. This was the first opportunity for the audience to be ahead of them. Now, I agree completely here. I support your decision here. The only thing that was missing to me as an audience is that nobody was not even remotely close to start to think about suspecting Sophia about something. So when there is a mole, when there is a wolf among the sheep, as an audience to be engaged, we need somebody at least to be on the path to realizing who is the wolf among the sheep. And I was begging for the whole season. Hopefully they will have this big reveal who the hell is Sophia for everybody in the town. Somewhere in the middle or close to the end of season 4. Please don't drag it to season 5, but unfortunately they did drag it for season 5. So anyway, moving to the next question. Haya wanted to ask if Julie can actually change the past, even if the man in yellow said that she couldn't once a story being told. There was an instance where she tossed the troll down to Boyd when he was stuck in that well. With that, I was genuinely confused if she could actually change the timeline. Laughing out loud. Glad you asked this question. There's a big difference between going back and changing this story as opposed to finding out you're a part of the reason this story played out the way it is in the first place. So, as I was talking about this in my video, it's the causal loop paradox. Like in Back to the Future, Marty McFly comes back to the past and he's playing Johnny B. Good, and then Chuck Berry listens to the song and writes Johnny B. Good, so Marty McFly in the future will learn this song to come back to the past, blah blah blah. Causal loop paradox. So Julie comes back in time to throw the rope to Boyd, so Boyd will escape this well, and he will save Julie, so she will be able to throw the rope, blah, 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 blah. You understand. So I don't know how it's supposed to be working in the mythology of this show, because it's not a time travel TV show, right? There's no physics, no anything, nor sci-fi. It's a story that somehow came to life, right? This is the favorite part, as the man in yellow was saying. This is my favorite part of the story. Now we know that this story is also some kind of a game. So how does it all work here? I'm still not 100% sure, but we do realize that this is at least the causal loop paradox. So we move into the next one, and Remarkable Reach 2391 is saying, what's one scene you're most proud of that viewers may not realize was especially difficult to pull off? Were there any major storylines that were cut or changed significantly during the development? Which fan theory came closest to the truth? The sequence where the animals get out of the barn in the middle of the night was by far the most challenging sequence we've done on the show. See the answers above where we complement the brilliance of our actors. Turns out animals are a bit more challenging, plus it was sub-zero temperatures. As kind and loving as our cast and crew are, we are fairly certain that they hated us both that night for writing that sequence. Have you considered selling any From merchandise, Tabitha dolls, talismans, or cans of peaches? Nothing would make us happier, but this is about our pay grade. Whoever you are on the paid grade, please make this fucking happen. What, you don't like money or something? You know you're gonna sell a ton, lots of merch if you're gonna start selling. Do that, please. If someone made a From video game, would you play it? I think it would make an awesome game. Yes, but only if I got to be one of the background colony house residents, wondering what the fuck is going on and how did I get there. Please make it happen. Also, I would love to play a video game on From. Who was the hardest character to kill off? There has not been any easy character to say goodbye to. One of the things we're most proud of is that the word Fromville is more than just a hashtag. The cast really is like family, and there is a grieving process every time we have to say goodbye. Once again, this is an answer. There is not a, this is somebody who had here a PR training here, so this is like, oh, Tianqian, no, you have to give a very politically correct answer here. Which character surprised you the most when you saw them go from paper to being acted out? Did you gain new favorites or like old favorites last? Did you have any of the actors in mind when writing these characters? We are blessed with an amazingly talented cast. Seeing every character brought to life was a joy, and all of the characters' voices have been influenced sometimes in smaller ways, sometimes in larger ways by the performer playing them. There has been one of the joys of making the show, watching it come to life, once again, blah blah blah, of course. Why does Elgin have zero survival skills? Because he spent too much time making owls with his grandmother. Okay, at least it a little bit explains why Elgin is the dumbest character in the history of television. He literally has zero survival skills. I mean, yeah, in a normal world, you can go to somebody and say, look, this is you on the picture, but in Fromville, you probably should be more careful about those things. So what inspired you to create the show? The idea behind the show was to explore what it would be like if your reality were a play and you find yourself living in a nightmare. Who you become when everything you know is gone. Well, pretty much already answered this question. Are the fallen trees in the middle of the road different in each episode, 101, 108, and 303, or are they all the same tree? Different trees. Okay, this is a fact. I still don't know where to put it on the puzzle map, but at least we know this is different trees, which pretty much is not new because when you look at them, they're different trees. Okay, anyway, moving to the next question. Are all of the residents abducted by Fromville direct descendants of OG Jade and Tabitha? No, in fact, none of the residents aside from present-day Jade and Tabitha are their descendants, so reincarnation only for those two, with the exception of Victor, who was Miranda's child. Miranda is a reincarnation of Tabitha. Tabitha is a reincarnation of Miranda, I think. As Jade now knows, all of the other residents are just minnows who unfortunately heard the cries of the children. You remember the reference? Minnows in the shark nest? So they wanted to catch the shark, which is Jade and Tabitha, and everybody else was just drawn into it because they were filled with hope, which this place needs because it feeds on hope, and they were at some sort of a crossroad. Now, if you are at a crossroad, you can go either way, either to the real world or maybe being drawn into Fromville, which is obviously some kind of a different dimension. Will we get to see more of the ballerina in the music box in season 5? Hell yeah, of course, we may very well see the ballerina dance again. Stay tuned. Of course, I mean, we had Sophia looking at the figure of the ballerina, we have the lullaby, which probably kept some part of Man in Yellow blood inside of Martin. Yeah, it has to be somehow played out, right? Ballerina has to play a big role in this TV show. Okay, we have they poured their hope into the roots, which became the tree, but the bottle tree isn't the only faraway tree we've seen. There are at least two others, at least three others. With Victor saying there's a bunch of them. Did the children's hope also form those faraway trees? Great question. Good that it's great question, but we need some kind of a great answer here. Anyway, moving on. So we're supposed to already know why, we'll soon know how. My question is, where are they? They are in Fromtown. We thought that would be clear by now. Sorry, but Jock will explain where they are. Good, good. I like this promise, because this is a very important one. We really all want to know where the hell are they. Okay, another one. Are there more new locations of the town that we haven't been to in the show that we might go into season 5? Stay tuned. Stay tuned usually means yes. Okay, so stay tuned. Well, of course, we're gonna need to see more locations. We have what? Only the town and the village and the lighthouse and maybe a couple of more locations, but we need more. Of course, we need more. We need something new. But this new is supposed to be connected to the old. So is the ending hidden, alluded to somewhere in episode 1? There are probably more answers in episode 1 that most people realize. I've been learning about this for a while already. This is not the first time they are saying this. I've been rewatching this episode many times, and unfortunately I don't have anything for you. I still don't know. Of course, we have this conversation about Norman dying and the fairies from the Lake of Tears are about to save him. Everybody fixates on this conversation, but how it explains all of its mysteries of this TV show, I don't have any clue. Will the relevance of the spider symbols throughout the show become clear? Yep. I need to understand what is the role of the fucking spider. Since season 1 it bugs me. Those amazing big spider webs. It feels so mysterious, so mystical, so fantasy-like, which obviously I'm drawn into, and I need to know who are the spiders, what is their role. I'm very confident, not 100%, but still, that the man in yellow is somehow connected to the spider. We've seen him transforming and it was all very spidery-like. So I don't know how, because once again, we've been talking about there are many mythologies with spider gods, etc. Like Anansi, for example, but he's a good guy, so I don't see him being a bad guy here. So whatever this is, hopefully we will know, and now they promised us, so we will be like, you promised, you give us answers. Okay, next one was the doll that Megan was playing with in season 1, episode 1, that same doll that Tabitha past self was playing with, and in turn iced Roger. Lol. This show has been my favorite since Game of Thrones ended, sad to see it end, but excited for the last season. Not the same doll, but it is wonderfully twisted idea. Well, of course it's not the same doll. Anyway, will we ever know what happened to the model? The real question is, was there even ever a model in the first place? Interesting. Was there a model, or this place was created already like this, with a sign for a model but no model? Which kind of make a lot of sense. Once again, if it's a distorted version of our reality, then there is somewhere a model like this in the real world, but here it's just a copy of it without a model itself. So yeah, interesting. Let's move on to the next one. And we have a question by Historical Stay 808. Will we get an after the ending breakdown, please? A talk show with a guest going over things people might have missed. If Conan O'Brien is available, yes. Otherwise, TBD, to be declared. First of all, I mean, I've been a fan of Conan O'Brien since I was 15, since the masturbating bear jokes when I was 15. It was really funny to me. Now I'm watching Conan Has to Go. I love his remotes, and just seeing those two worlds collide for me, like one of my favorite TV shows with one of my favorite talk show hosts of all time. Yeah, just happy. Now, if it's actually gonna happen and Conan O'Brien is gonna interview them, I'm gonna piss myself from happiness. Yeah, I'm gonna film this. I don't know who's gonna watch it, but still. Is Eloise still alive, and is she someone we have already seen on screen? And now, be ready to be sad and upset. Eloise is dead. Rest in peace. A fascinating thing about mystery box shows is that the audience creates mysteries of their own. Maybe that says something about our willingness to believe in or seek out conspiracies, but no, Eloise is dead. Now, before season 4, I was an advocate for Eloise maybe not even surviving. Like, it's been 3 seasons. They would have probably hinted it in the very, more obvious way that there is something connected to Eloise. Right, there were signs, of course, but when season 4 started and the poster arrives with the car and the license plate says Eloise, I was like, oh, hell yeah, everybody was right and I was wrong. Eloise is alive. Of course she is alive. I mean, Victor was not able to find her body. It was just bits and pieces. Maybe it was something else. Nobody has seen her die. There's the village, and somebody is jumping on the roof on the village. Somebody in season 4 is singing a song, and we know that Eloise was really good in hide and seek, like was really good, so it would imply that she was able to hide from the danger. So there are so many things, and now it's like, no, it's nothing. Now, the reason it upsets me is not because it's just nothing. The reason it upsets me is because there is so many different puzzle pieces that implies that she is somehow will still play a role in this TV show. And because of that, it kind of implies that maybe, just maybe, there are way more puzzle pieces like that that we consider as something and they are completely nothing. And I really hope not, because I don't need this TV show to be smarter than I am. If the explanation is gonna be way worse than every theory I had or my colleagues had in their YouTube channels, on Reddit forums, it's gonna be upsetting, right? I think so. I don't really gonna be like, oh my god, I spent so much time, this is so bad and awful. I'm still gonna be looking at those years of watching and analyzing From as one of the best parts of my life. Honestly, like creating this channel, meeting so many interesting people, getting to know you guys who watch this video, it was amazing no matter how the TV show is gonna end. But I'm also a human being. If the ending is gonna be, stupid, and it's all gonna be just, oh, a simulation or some fucked up thing like this, yeah, it's gonna be upsetting. Obviously, it's gonna be upsetting. So, what is the biggest responsibility you feel going into season 5? I think first and foremost, it's the feeling contract that we made with the audience when we set it on our journey, that they are in good hands and the time they invested will be rewarded. Equally important is to go to do justice to this thing that we hold very dear and love very much and to give it the send-off it deserves. Once again, catch you by your word. You promised us you will deliver us the answer, because you know that most of us are invested in this TV show not because we care for the characters. We obviously do, but we care for the answers. We need to know. This TV show is incredible mystery. It is so engaging. People love it so much. If it's gonna be upsetting, if the answer is gonna be so much more stupider, than the theories that we have, if it's not gonna connect or even cause contradictions between your own puzzle pieces that you put there, a lot of people, including me, are gonna be disappointed with this ending. So, moving on is Man in Yellow, an ancient creature. He is definitely older than your oldest pair of jeans. I have a pair of jeans handed down in the family since 1747. So ancient tells me it was before Christ. Okay, it's something that is thousands and thousands of years old, right? I mean, this is not a slang. I'm almost 40 years old and I know for some people I'm ancient. But this is not what they're meaning here. So the Man in Yellow, it is something that is probably there from the creation of the universe. So, are the birds ravens or crows? The birds in the show are crows. The ravens play in Baltimore. Once again, a little bit upsetting thing for me, because I did believe that there are ravens, because there is a poem by Edgar Allan Poe which is written on the board in the school where Toby is lying in episode 1, and this poem is called Raven, as I told you, so I thought maybe there is a connection here of some sort, but once again, it's one of those puzzle pieces that it doesn't mean anything. Probably just an homage to the writer and the author that the creators of the TV show admire. Like Edgar Allan Poe, obviously the father of the horror genre. Same that, not nearly as upset as with Eloise. Okay, ravens, crows, doesn't really matter that much to me. Anyway, moving on, is there more or less a layout for season 5? And if there was one word you would use to describe or hint at what's to come, what would it be? Yes, we have a framework for season 5 and the headline will be End Game. Okay, Avengers Endgame. Avengers assemble and make us an endgame. Okay, is Father Khatri ghost actually him? Stay tuned. Very interesting question, and it's nice that we're gonna get an answer. I do believe this is Father Khatri, but once again, not convinced. Maybe it's somebody else. The reason I do believe it's Father Khatri, even though it a little bit implies that it's not him, is I want to believe that it was Jim who was talking to Ethan in episode 2 of season 4, because it was a very heartfelt moment for me. Is story walking going to be a factor in season 5? Because I love that and wish we saw more of it, whether it be from Julia or someone else. PolyQueen15, you're not alone in this. There are many people like you, including me, who needed way more story walking in season 4. This will become clear in season 5. Of course, there's going to be more story walking because we've seen Julie with a scar arriving to try to save Jim in the end of season 3. She still doesn't have a scar. She still didn't travel there. She needs to realize how the bookmarks work because they need to work somehow. So it all has to work out somehow. 100%, 1,000,000% we're gonna see some story walking in season 5. And we're getting close to the end of this video. Are you guys going to say that it's all just a dream, just like Henry is expecting things right now? No, if anything, it would be a nightmare. It's definitely not a dream, they said it many times, but there are some kind of factors here. Okay, we do see that Boyd was able to manifest here things like he was able to bring Donna back. We know that Henry needed to manifest a gun and suddenly he learned where the gun is. So there are elements like that, and especially nightmares that come to life. Of course, nightmares, the Nate nightmare with cicadas, the guy with the dolls that threw them, when Tabitha Child was playing with the dolls. So there is a nightmare element, dream/nightmare element in this TV show. But how it's gonna be explained, well, stay tuned. So are we gonna know when exactly did Clara do the bargain with the man in yellow and what it was about? I need to know if it was in a cycle or a past one. Of course it was in this cycle. Obviously, Clara is there way after Donna and Katri and even Boyd. So yeah, Clara made the bargain before the Matthews family arrived in the town. So, yeah, pretty much obvious, but still, we get a confirmation from the creators, which is always nice. What's up with the dogs? Are we gonna see them again? We love dogs too. We are definitely dog people here. So, is it a yes or is it a no? I'm gonna assume that this is a yes, because this is another big question for this TV show. What's up with the dogs? Are they working for the boy in white? Are they part of his crew? By the way, I was extremely happy that eventually they didn't kill the dog like we were thinking before the beginning of season 4, but they did kill the goat, which is also sad. But still, the dogs, the boy in white's dogs are still alive, and we need to see them again. But most importantly, we need to know what are they. It's just, like boy and white just have dogs, or there is some explanation to the role, and I really hope that the second part is actually true. By the end of the series, will every answer be revealed? Yes, though we are certain people will still be mad at us for something. Well, of course, somebody will be mad at you for something. This is internet. You can actually see a video of, I don't know, the most wholesome thing ever. People are recovering from bad disease and then playing with puppies, and everybody is giving everybody free food, and you will go to the comments and you will see somebody like, this is miserable people. What do you want from them? They will always be upset about something. This is their life, and they need to project it somehow to other people to not feel this evil, very bad feeling only by themselves. But yeah, probably will be mad at you also if you're gonna screw up the punch, because, you promised us answers. Now, if you're gonna give us answers, whatever they are, I'm definitely not gonna be mad. I can be upset, but mad I'm not gonna be. But if it's gonna be just, no answers, an open ending, something that's not explaining anything, yeah, people are gonna be mad, because people will feel lied to. Just as you said yourself, there is this emotional contract. You told us, the audience, indirectly, trust us. Through Jade's words in season 2, trust us. Everything has a connection here. Everything has a meaning. Everything's supposed to work somehow. So if you're not gonna deliver on this promise, people will be mad. Now, I'm gonna be mad, granted, for like a half an hour, and then I'm gonna move on with my life, because why would I be mad? I don't enjoy being mad. But yeah, people will be mad. And hopefully, I really hope, fingers crossed, praying to all of the gods that I can think of, and I'm a big fan of mythology, so I know a lot of them, that we're not gonna be bad, that we're gonna be super excited. I'm rooting for the show with all of my existence. My body, my soul, my heart, everything is rooting for From to succeed, to be one of the most remembered TV shows, to be one of the greatest mystery TV shows of all time. I want it to succeed. I want it to be extremely successful, because I enjoy the TV show, but enjoying the TV show doesn't make anybody blind, right? If you see something that you don't like, You just say about this and then you move on. Hopefully, still waiting for something good from this. Otherwise, why even watch it? Just to always be like, I'm upset, this TV show makes me upset. I'm gonna watch 10 episode and tell every day that I'm upset. Look, but what is wrong with you? This is how you wanna spend your life living? I mean, I'm not a coach, I'm not gonna tell you how to live your life, but once again, you have only one life. This is how you want to spend it? I mean, come on, come on. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so happy to be back. Hopefully you enjoy this. I enjoyed my vacation, but I also felt always upset and a little bit sad that I'm not releasing videos, that I'm not updating on YouTube, that I'm not doing live streams, and I missed you, everybody. So yay! I'm back and hopefully more videos, and I'm gonna see you all in the next one. Meanwhile, bye!